Friends, welcome to the second episode of Milestones. As you know, Milestones is a series by the Insurance Institute of India, where we talk about many turning points in the entire history of the Indian insurance industry, which has made the industry what it is today. So one of the recent episodes that we have seen, the recent things which are seen in our country is the pandemic attack, the COVID-19 attack, and because of that, the impact on the insurance industry. So on this theme, we have with us Madam T.L. Alamelu, who is member non-life at IRDAI. Madam was in the hot seat during the entire pandemic period, and we are really happy to have Madam to talk to you all on this in this session. Madam, welcome to the Milestone series.
Thank you, Thomas, for inviting me for these talks.
Yeah, let me come straight to the theme that we want to discuss. See, during this last 2 years, we have seen a lot of changes in the insurance industry after the pandemic, lockdowns, restrictions on movement, working from home, and things which we have not experienced in the past at all. So here, in this time, you were here in the leadership position from the regulator's desk. It was a time for many bold decisions from many parts of the industry. How did you feel it all? What was your take on this entire situation?
This crisis has definitely taught us many lessons. Overnight, the entire working of the insurance industry, it turned on its head, so to say. Everybody was working from home. All stakeholders, insurers, intermediaries, regulator, we were working from home, but there was no let up on the services rendered to the policy holders and to the general public. We consciously ensured that it happens, and there was complete cooperation from both the insurers and all the intermediaries and other stakeholders, which made that to happen.
Okay. Yeah, Madam, let me come to a bit of specific questions. When we look at the pandemic, the first thing which comes to our mind are the health insurance policies, and the insurance regulator did a lot of work on that. Would you like to, talk to us on from that aspect?
When the COVID-19 pandemic started, I think in the first 2 months, I mean January, February, we never expected it to go on for so long. And when we started realizing, which was end Feb, what we did was, I think early March, very early March, 4th March, if I remember, we issued a circular to all insurers asking them to expeditiously settle the claims. Not only settle the claims expeditiously, but also see that if there is any rejection, it is reviewed by a claims committee. We also, encouraged insurers to come out with COVID-specific products, and as a regulator, we ourselves came out with 2 products. One was Corona Kavach and one was Corona Rakshak. Then we also declared to all the general public that health insurance indemnity policies will cover COVID-19, so that there is no iota of doubt among anybody, having a health insurance policy. And to make things simpler for the policy holders, we again urge the insurers to have a time limit of within 2 hours to give cashless sanctions, and within 2 hours, settle the hospital bill, so that the person is coming out of the hospital fast, and considering all of us know the rush to the beds in the first wave and second wave, the beds are also freed faster. I think that was something which was unsaid, but it was there at the back of our mind. We also asked insurers to put FAQs about COVID on their websites. Then, as the government was also taking proactive measures, we also, simultaneously gave advisories to the insurers. For example, because of lack of beds, some of the public utilities were turned into hospitals. We told insurers that you will have to treat them like hospitals, encouraged insurers to, say that telemedicine is also to be considered as part of consultation and treatment if it is so covered in the policy. So whole slew of measures, and we were continually monitoring the industry for claim settlement, and I can tell you that the number of claims, little later I will tell you the number of claims which have been settled. It's quite a good number in a good speed. So we are asking insurers to replicate it in normal health claim settlements.
Okay. That's interesting. Of course, in health insurance, you had you had done a lot of um changes and lot of facilitations so that the common man gets the benefits. Looking at the larger picture, maybe from the general insurance or the life insurance areas also, is there something which you would wish to add?
Yeah, I think for the general, industry itself, the first thing we told them, because this whole thing was a crisis management, the first thing, of course, which we told them was to activate their business continuity plans. Many had already started, but many, after our instructions, activated the business continuity plan so that there is no disruption of any sort of services to the policy holders and general public. We started getting into monthly monitoring of solvency margins to ensure the health of the financial health of the insurers. Additional time was given for filing returns. We allowed insurers to issue electronic policies, as well as dispense with the inking of proposal forms. These were some of the steps we asked the general insurers and life insurers to do. Of course, on payment of premium, specifically motor third party premium, health premium, we gave some concessions. People could pay it at a later date. So this lockdown, had restrictions. Keeping that in mind, we gave some concessions on payment of premium. Uh, Again, to preserve capital, we asked insurers not to, pay dividends to their shareholders. So I think the shareholders too realized that this was the time where they could not demand it, and I don't think anybody raised any objections to any of these some of these restrictive practices which as a regulator we took.
Okay. Madam, in general, when you were implementing all these major path-breaking changes, some of them were, tough situations and then tough measures when you came in with, how was the cooperation coming in from the different parts of the industry, the intermediaries, the government, the insurers? This is something which you would wish to talk about.
I think this particular crisis, every stakeholder has risen to the occasion. I think this is one of those crises where everybody has responded in an extremely positive manner. I don't think we faced, like I just told you, we faced any resistance from anybody on some of the restrictions which we placed, some of the pressures which we place, especially on health insurers to expedite settling of claims, third party administrators who had to be on the ground, who had to go to the hospitals, even I think risking their lives, not only third party administrators, but I would like to record the appreciations for the huge network of agents, especially life insurance agents who used to be there at the the policy holders house the moment they knew that there was a crisis there. In fact, some of the deaths were reported. I think they were all there to help them out, get the documentations, and claims were settled in record time. Many of agents themselves got exposed, but I don't think it deterred any of them from doing their duty. So there were small issues as to getting permission from governments to allow them to move around freely. That I can tell you that the government was also quite cooperative. They declared insurance as an essential service. So things went on, so to say, quite normally, even during this time of crisis.
Okay. Madam, let us look at it from another point of view. You from the IRDA, you have been interacting with, with multiple countries, maybe at the International Association of Insurance Supervisors, with various organizations across the globe. How do you connect what we have been doing here in India, or, what are your experiences from the other countries?
We had been in touch with other regulators, and similar measures have been taken by them also. But I think some of the different things which they did, I would like to share with you is, one is how the regulator at London, uh, they took an interpretation of business interruption policy, and in fact they asked their Supreme Court to give an interpretation to the various policies, so that policy holders could get benefit. Some of the policy holders could get benefit of the interpretation of business interruption vis-a-vis whether pandemic was covered, whether loss of profit was covered. So that was a different approach by a regulator approaching the court asking for interpretation. Uh, Basically because that policy did cover pandemic here without a physical damage. Of course, in Indian market, that I don't think any policy covers business interruption without concurrent material damage. So it may not apply. However, this is what the regulator did. All the regulators across the globe have spoken lots about cyber security, tightening of cyber security measures by the insurers and all the regulated entities, because this crisis has thrown up a lot of digitalization, and concurrently the dark forces, if you can say, cyber crimes have increased. So that was a concern, which was a concern for us also. Many regulators allowed insurers to take some of the funds, give loans, take loans, mortgages, to ease their financial burden because of the pandemic. And I think all of them also put restrictions on these dividends. So some of these things are common across all regulators. The unique feature about IRDAI is, I think we were the one regulator who have come out with this Corona specific policy, Corona Kavach and Corona Rakshak, which quite a few regulators around the world have appreciated.
Um, See, madam, we have seen these changes which has happened, and then, of course, for all of us, it was a learning experience, a learning which we were not prepared in the at the outset. So, but we have learned a lot of things. But how do we, what are your thoughts of how do we preserve these learnings for posterity? For the next time, God forbid, another pandemic comes or another bad situation comes. What would be? How do we preserve our learnings for future?
I think we need to become more proactive. Uh, Most of the times, when we should see the risks which start developing at a much earlier stage. Even COVID-19, you can see that earlier there was SARS and smaller, I mean, you can't even say pandemics, but probably smaller health crisis had many of the policies do have pandemic extension, pandemic exclusion, extension. So we know that there is a risk called the pandemic, there is a risk of a health crisis, but we thought it would not happen. Similar to, the terrorism attack, which we never thought it would go to this extent, and after it happened, we all know what all happened in the way terrorism is dealt with today. So I think we need to be more proactive as an industry, spell out the risks, perils, and start preparing policies accordingly. Today, the example which comes to my mind is cyber liability, cyber risk, which is, I think, one of the biggest risks, but I feel are not yet prepared for that. We need to get more prepared for such huge events. As far as this current pandemic is concerned, uh, I think sometime during the pandemic, the middle of the pandemic, we had created a working group to examine whether a pandemic pool would be of good use to the Indian market. A working report has come, but the funding of that, I think, is an issue. Some of it will definitely be from the insurance industry, but it definitely needs a government backup. But considering the financial and economic state of what's happening today, this will have to get developed at a later stage, but I think this is a good way to deal with a crisis of this nature. The other way to, the lesson learned from this pandemic is our business interruption policy doesn't address loss of profit due to the pandemic, nor does it, look at the loss of wages. Probably the industry can think of how this can also get addressed when they look for when they think forward about handling any other crisis. It could be an opportunity for the insurance industry to think about this.
Okay. Madam, thanks a lot. You have given us.
Before closing, I would just like to tell you the numbers as far as health claims concerned, and the sort of settlement which the industry has done. The reported claims, you can say, as of yesterday, was about 28,74,000 odd. And the amount reported was something like 36,000 crores. industry has settled 25,75,000 claims, amounting to nearing 24,000 crores of rupees. So I think they have done an extremely good job, and I mean, we would like the industry to replicate this in every type of claim, so that you know, the public gets the faith in insurance, and the much needed penetration happens sooner than later. Thank you.
Yeah, madam, one observation I would like to make here is that, this came in, this pandemic situation came in, and we have learned a lot from this. And, if you look forward, when the country has so many years of experience, the way IRDA and also the Indian insurance industry handled this pandemic situation is, of course, a milestone. We have got a lot of information from you or from different aspects of this milestone, and how this has to be recorded for future, and how it is important in the history of this country's insurance industry. So thank you very much for giving us all these multiple perspectives, and thanks a lot for
Thank
your
you.
time and your wisdom.
Thank you so much, and appreciate the way Insurance Institute has been taking up these series, and extremely interesting to watch and hear all the other veterans of the industry. So I think you are doing a great job. Keep it up. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, madam. Our pleasure. Thank you once again.